Hi, Casey. Thanks for being on Funnel Vision today. I'm excited to chat with you about your sales expertise and knowledge.
Well, I'm super excited to be with you today. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to have some time chatting about how we can improve sales for those that you work with.
Yeah, sure. So, first question is, what is the one like game-changing tactic that you've used to ensure and build long client relationships?
Yeah, great question. The number one approach, I think, is proactive outreach. I make it a point to check in with clients when there's nothing to sell. And, really this no agenda conversation shows that I'm genuinely interested in their business, the things that they're working on. And it's not just chasing a sale or the next deal. And it builds a deeper level of trust. And more often than not, those check-ins will uncover opportunities that, that I might not known have existed. And it really gives us an opportunity for us to dive into how their workload is flowing and the things that I can do to help. And that proactive outreach that just keeps that relationship warm. It opens the doors that wouldn't otherwise be available. And it just positions me as a partner, not just a vendor or a salesperson trying to get a sale from them.
Yeah, I love what you said there, which was like that kind of like no agenda outreach. Just like calling to say hi and like if just having a conversation is where you are able to like identify, first of all, you're able to identify, they'll talk with you about possible opportunities, but you just kind of keeps them on your radar. Develops that, deepens that relationship. And it's not always about calling like when there's a problem or like when you're trying to like sell something immediate. It's more about kind of developing those relationships and keeping those contacts.
I mean, that's an excellent point that you bring up is, most of the time when we're talking to clients or customers, we're talking about issues, right? And 95%, statistically speaking, 95% of the work that we do is reactive in nature, reacting to the situation we're dealing with or the deal. And so if we can really step outside of that scope and make it, our interaction is just a proactive checking in how you're doing, what are the things we're going on, it elevates us to a different level of relationship with that client and that connection.
Yeah. And you get to know them as a person versus just, being them just calling you because of what you do, but just getting to know them and have conversations is the way to go. Is there a piece of sales advice that you've received in the past that has, kind of really stuck with you or changed your approach?
I think along the lines of what we talked about is don't be selling to the transaction, right? Really focus on building the relationship. And there's so many times, I can even think of times when I've had conversations with clients over the past that I might not be the best solution for you. Maybe I can refer you to something else. Who else might be able to solve that problem for you? And if we're focused on just closing the deal in front of us, it's very short-term thinking, right? And when we shift that focus to be on a long-term relationship, everything changes. Deals get bigger. The process becomes easier. We become a resource to them, not just a vendor that's like, hey, you know what, I need X, so I will call Casey. I'm looking for a solution. Perhaps that conversation with Casey will help me find the solution, whether that be from him or, through some connections. And so that really helps deliver exponential returns because it's not just about that next transaction.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you too. It's about that, like, just like you said, similar to the first question, developing those relationships. And it's not just about selling to close, but selling to like actually help them, like help figure out what is the challenge that they're having? What is the problem that they're having that you're solving? So like coming at it from that, like helping, solve a problem or, not just thinking about this close or this transaction.
Very much so. Yeah, I couldn't say it better than that. It's
Yeah.
such great advice.
Yeah, for sure. It's simple advice, right? Like it's not like anything that's like mind blowing or like crazy, but it is like in sales. I feel like there's so many salespeople that get away from that because there's so much focus on the numbers, the close, the pressure, like on all of these things. But it really should be on, of course that's important. You've got to be successful at what you're doing also, but it's really should be on the focus building those relationships, making it that you're making, help first so that, and that will create all of those, those closes and, your success in the end.
so much. As you say that, it's one of the things that we recognize in sales, that sales is a failing profession, right? We recognize we're going to fail more times than we'll be successful. And one of the things that we realize that in sales, we all deal with fear that presents itself in different situations, whether that be fear of rejection, fear of, inconveniencing somebody, or just, maybe they don't want to hear from me today. And one of the things that really happens is that we focus on the relationship and really on the actions we're taking to try to help somebody, we move away from that fear, because in the end, it's not just the result that matters. It's continuing to maintain that relationship and continuing to help those contacts that we're working with to meet their needs. And it actually helps us step outside of the focus of the fear of not getting the result. And it really is a powerful way for us to become better in the sales functions that we're all performing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. Switching gears a little bit to AI. How everybody's been talking about AI. It's kind of just been, there's so many tools and things out there. Like, how do you see AI, changing the game and the future of sales?
I mean, that's what you said. It absolutely is changing the game, right? But it cannot replace the human element. It just needs to enhance it. And there's so many tools out there that we can use to be able to automate some of the more repetitious type tasks that we might be after. But the very best salespeople are going to use AI for the heavy lift, the research, some of the automation things that can be done in order to help us to ultimately be better positioned to be able to have those high value conversations and create the problem solving. And so I don't see AI as something that is going to replace the need for these personal relationships. If anything else, it's going to enhance our ability, that as we use it to assist with those things that can be leveraged with AI tools, and free up more time to be able to have those in-depth conversations. And ultimately, it doesn't even have to be a conversation about how do I close the deal for you, right? If we can use AI to free up the time that, maybe I'm having a conversation with you about what's going on in your family, what's going on with your kids, that ultimately we're being able to develop that closer connection. And if AI can help make more time available for that, what a valuable tool for us to have down the line, that when the need presents itself, either on your end or I've got an opportunity that we've talked about, and say, hey, let me introduce this to you. I think this solution might work for you. And it really helps in a way that makes things work well.
Yeah. And that's how we're using it, here, at Talent Harbor too. Like, it's a tool. We don't think it's going to, replace our salespeople or our recruiters or, our team. We know that it's not. It's a human based, business, and kind of human things like building those relationships. AI can't do that, at least not yet. But it can't do that. And so, but exactly like you said, like using it for the tasks, like the repetitious tasks, and like the all that stuff that it can automate is super helpful for increasing the time and then value that you're able to present to your clients, and like quicker turnarounds. And then for me, I think like all of the video and meeting recordings, all of that has been super helpful. And like the way, because we use that here for both, sales meetings and getting like that feedback and report after like a meeting is recorded, like what was the sentiment of the meeting, here's all the notes, here's here's the questions you should have asked, or things like that. And we also use it for recording all of our interviews, and then using all of that recording like just for better data to make sure that our candidates are super aligned with our clients' needs and like job descriptions and things. So using them as tools, but it doesn't replace the humans behind that, making those decisions, having those relationships and conversations.
Yeah, I love hearing those, because we're using some of those similar tools just to speed up and amplify the effectiveness of the things that we're doing. And those are the things that I think, as we all share, here's where AI can help assist and do some of this lifting. It really helps us so much more to be able to just focus on the people part that, as you pointed out, as of right now, it's not replaceable. Right?
Yeah. Ask me in 10 years.
Right. I've always loved the quote that your job won't be replaced by AI, but it likely will be by somebody who knows how to use it. And those are the things we just have to know how to leverage that to make us better in our jobs.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I agree with that very much, very much. What do you think is something that a salesperson should stop doing in order to become more successful?
One of the things we talk about often is they just need to stop thinking that people don't want to hear from you, right? That's one of the things we talked a little bit about, that fear element. And that's one of the ways that it presents itself oftentimes is I don't want to feel like I'm, inconveniencing them or feeling desperate. Like particularly when we're good at our jobs and when we focus on providing solutions for clients, they do like to hear from us. They know that if we're genuinely interested in helping them solve their solutions, it's a good thing for them to hear from us. The flip side to that is if we're constantly talking about them, the only thing we're interested in closing a deal, that may not be the case. People might be like, I know exactly why he's calling. He's trying to get a sale. But if we really can focus on building those genuine relationships with people, that we're seeking to find solutions to problems when we're reaching out to them, or we're just taking a genuine interest in what's going on with them, people like to hear from us. They know that we're interested in that. And so that's one of the things I think is a really easy way for fear to present itself in a salesperson's, day-to-day work, is that thinking, well, they probably don't want to hear from me. And it's an impediment for us to be able to move forward because we get caught up in that. Well, I don't want to bother them today.
Yeah. And what I hear you saying is like it's a like on that salesperson, it's a switch in how you view what you're doing, right? If you view that what you're doing, like you said, like you're a burden or something else, then maybe they're gonna see you as a burden also. But if you switch the script as to like I'm calling them because I'm trying to just want to chat, just want to say hi, or just want to help them or see how they're how they've been progressing with whatever challenge that we had talked about in the past. And, you just kind of flip the script a little bit and flip your mindset. It's kind of like what I heard you saying there is like the salesperson needs to like stop thinking you're a burden, but also just flip your mindset on how you're approaching the conversation.
I love that. The phrase we use is you actually cannot outsell your mindset, right? And so if in the end the mindset is, I'm just calling this person trying to get a sale, that is going to come across through the phone, right? And so I love the way that you called that out, is flipping that mindset and being able to say, you know what, I'm genuinely reaching out to people to be able to connect with them and find ways to provide solutions to the challenges they're having. Who of us doesn't want to hear from someone regularly, that's their interest in connecting with us to say, what can I do to help your life be better and help you better accomplish the goals that you're trying to achieve right now?
Yeah. And like you said, it's not only at that point, it's not about, closing a sale. It's you can hear what their issues are, what their challenges are, what they're working on. And maybe someone in your network. So maybe you can be of value to make another introduction, or you've had experience with this, like or somebody that's had a similar experience. Let me connect you with that person, or, any of those things that just help deepen the relationship. And, it, like you said, is exactly right. So talking about like sales talent. I'm sure throughout your career you've had to hire salespeople, and what do you look for, or like do you have a strategy for finding those truly like rock star salespeople?
I think if I would put two words that I would probably focus on is curiosity and resilience. And again, we've talked about the fact that, sales particularly is a failing profession. We've got to go into that knowing it. We often talk, particularly in the outgrow world, we use the phrase swinging the bat a lot. And I love the analogy because we talk about the fact that, the very best baseball hitters are hitting 300%, which means they're failing 70% of the time. And those are like top tier, best ever baseball players, right? And sales profession, our success rate tends to be lower than that, right? So we've got to have somebody that's comfortable with the fact that knowing, what, their success rate is going to be somewhere between 5 and 20% of the time they're going to be successful. They've got to be able to move from each of those no's that they get. I need somebody who's hanging up the phone and saying that no means I'm one step closer to the yes, rather than being, totally wallowing and I was just rejected again. And that's, such an important part for a salesperson to be able to be successful at. And the other is curiosity, because, not only are they learning how to do their job better, are they learning about the products and services that we sell, but as we've talked at length about, they've got to be curious about our customer and our client. And if they can be curious about that individual that they're learning about them and their personal life, what are their needs on a business level, those two things, that if they can consistently be curious in the things that they're learning about and being resilient in the face of, failure, that's a easy recipe for a person who can be trained very much on the things that they can be doing to be a successful salesperson.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned like curiosity and a resilience, absolutely. Curiosity is one of the things when we're interviewing people for sales roles, when people that we're interviewing don't ask questions on the interview about the client, about the product, about anything, about the team, about something, like that's a red flag for us. And so it's looking for exactly that, looking for curiosity, because if you're a salesperson, you should always be asking questions. You always want to know more. Tell me more about that, like wanting to learn a little bit more. So on when we're interviewing people and our team is interviewing people, that's something that we're looking for is like, what questions did they ask? Were they like genuinely curious to learn more? Like, did they show like a genuine interest? And that's so important because it's something that you can teach, but it's also that something is sometimes like a little bit innate in that person. You could teach them how to ask questions, but some people have that genuine, like, are genuinely curious people, just that's who they are.
As you're saying that, and we talked a little bit about the fear component, right? If someone's afraid to look stupid by asking something that they don't know, like that's something that we hear from people, right? Well, I didn't want to seem like I didn't know what was going on. Like, we can't have that in a successful salesperson. They need to be able to say, if I don't know, I need to be able to find out. And so it's another area where we recognize that fear can present itself by a reluctance to be able to ask questions and be able to find out more about the situation. And so, I love that that's part of your recruiting process, that that's that red flag, because it is like, it's so critical, because that's at the heart of who that person is, right? If they're able to be curious and find out more.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned that too, because part of like what we're looking for is that like it's that curiosity, but then also like I always tell our sales team and just salespeople that I work with, like, you don't have to know everything. Like, just sit, like, nobody knows everything. Even though you're a salesperson, like, you don't have to know everything. You can very easily say, I'm not sure on that. Like, let me get back to you. As long as you then follow up and follow through with getting back to that person with information, like, just because you're in sales doesn't mean that you all of a sudden like know everything. Yes, you should be knowledgeable on your product or service, like, but the client might ask you a question that you don't know. And that's okay. Like it's okay. You're not going to lose it. You're going to lose the deal if you don't tell them the right answer. You've given them a wrong answer just because you made it up. But saying like, I'm really not totally sure on that. Like, let me find out and get back to you. And then following up and getting back to them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And people are afraid, like they want to know everything, or they're afraid they're not going to be able to answer a question. And like, nobody has the answer to every question. So.
And look at the opportunity to build trust in that regard, right? If you can build trust with that client to be able to say, I don't know that, but I'm going to get back to you. I think that actually builds some trust with that client, that you're going to get the real information from it rather than pretending I know something, even if I don't. And so is so much about that authenticity to be able to, just be clear about, I'm going to share with you the things that I don't know. And I think that also demonstrates to them our curiosity, the things that we're going to do to be trying to find solutions for them as well. And so it all is so interconnected in the way that we work with people.
Definitely agree. So Casey, tell us a little bit about you and your background, what you do, and where people can find you.
No problem. So, I've spent my career in both retail, wholesale, distribution, really sales of all different types and across the board, and leading teams, building brands, driving growth in competitive industries. And today I'm the founder of Remedy Worldwide. We're a fractional service provider, and one of our key features and functions that we offer is Outgrow. I'm a certified Outgrow advisor working with Outgrow, which is a fantastic organization that helps businesses create proactive, predictable 15 to 30% revenue growth year over year. And it is a fantastic organization to be involved in. We spend a lot of time in mindset work, like we've talked about today, really helping people to have a positive approach to the way they're doing business. So it's a very exciting field to be in, and love working with businesses across industries. You can find me on LinkedIn under Casey Fitz. And I'm always happy to connect with other business owners and just learn to see, similar to, I believe I practice what we've preached today. I love to learn more about businesses to find out if there's anything that we can do. And I actually love the fact that building a connection it may not be this year that we have an opportunity to help each other. It could be something down the road, and just maintaining those connections in a way to be able to find out what is it I can do to help businesses to be successful in the things that they do.
Love that. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on today. This has been really fun. I love all the, advice and kind of stories and everything that you've told. And excited to continue to keep in touch and watch you as you grow as well.
Always great to be with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Casey.